Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. And on this channel, Mama reality TV shows, my celebrities, my YouTubers. If it is your first time joining me today and you really like my content, do not forget to press the subscribe button. On this video, I'm going to talk about Sne Mseleku as we prepare to watch Izingane Zesthembu, because she is one of the cast members on the second reality show, Izingane Zesthembu. People always say Sne doesn't have a job, and I always say no, actually she has two jobs, because she has a job on Motherhood Struggles and she has another job on Izingane Zesthembu. She actually should be able to take care of her own children herself if she is being paid fairly by these producers. And by the way, one of the producers is her own father, Sne Mseleku. So Sne Mseleku is actually her father's employee. Okay. So listen, a lot of us guys, usne ngiyamthanda, okay? And ngiyathanda ukuba frustrated by her, angidine usne, because I do feel like I understand her story. I feel like I get her and I get how she has become who she has become. But at the same time, I'm like, Sne, like, just wake up now. You know, we understand you, we understand your past, we feel your pain, but now it's time for you to just, do something. Let's see you be a great mom to your kids more than anything. Okay, let's see you really being serious about your career, kind of, thing, and also just be matured about how you treat these relationships. She recently said that she really hates her own family, and I'm like, that's like, you're speaking like a teenager now, because at some point all of us during teenagehood we thought, you know what, I wish ukuthi ngitholiwe ngatholwa ile family, my nice family is somewhere waiting to find me. Okay. But as an adult, really, to say something like that is like, let's be mature about things. So listen, you guys, we met Sne back in season 1 of Motherhood Struggles, and honestly, you guys, Sne has given so much content to Motherhood Struggles. If there's any child that I feel deserves to be paid from that show, is Sne. And also, she's the only child that came on Motherhood Struggles already as an adult. Okay, she was an adult, and she had a storyline, and a more interesting storyline than some of the wives, you guys. When she is introducing Sne, which is the same episode that he introduces all of the kids, episode 2 of season 1, he says that Sne is ingane yakhe yokuqala that he had with usisi wakashozi, who he never married, and then the mother passed away at some point. And Sne obviously was left with her grandmother and grandfather, Baga shows. Sne, at some point while she was still in high school, fell pregnant, had her first child, Utando. Okay. Mseleku, even at the beginning of the show, he does express his disappointment at that, because he says that he was hoping Sne was going to study and go to varsity, make something of her life. So her falling pregnant was really something that was disappointing for him. Okay, in season 1, you guys, I will tell you this, and you will have to go back and watch season 1 if you don't believe me. All that we see of Sne in the beginning of season 1 was Sne making effort to be a good mom, and also it looked like she is trying to make it up to her father, in terms of like her showing her father that she was really wanting to be responsible, she was really wanting to be a good mom to her kids, she was wanting to at the time she only had one child, she wanted to be the one that would provide for her child. When the season begins, Sne is working for her father. I think that they had a lodge or something where she works, you guys. We actually even see Sne waking up in early hours of the morning, preparing to go to work, you guys. It is interesting to see that episode, because in that very same episode where we see Sne waking up in the morning, preparing to go to work, she actually looks like she walks a long distance to get to work. We don't see her taking a taxi or anything. Maybe they showed us after she got off the taxi. She walks quite a distance to get to work. In that same episode, we actually see the other siblings who are still at school. They have a car that they're being driven around in to go to school, which makes me wonder, even in that episode, how come they were not using the same transport to get Usne to work? Okay, why did she have to walk to work when there is a car that is dedicated to take the kids around, drive the kids around, drive the kids to school and wherever? Why couldn't they just give her a lift to work too? Okay, I'm sure there was a reason, but it does make you wonder at the time. So in season one, at the beginning of season one, you get the feeling Yogotusne is trying to make it up to her father and say, listen, I'm going to do better now, you guys. Listen, I had forgotten that we once saw Usne wake up in the morning, make porridge for Utando, and there is a scene where she's even asking Auntie, I think Auntie Sevenzayo, there to actually take her child to a crash. She says, Auntie Ngileti, I need to rush to work. While she's preparing a porridge from Tanake, she's like, can you help me to take Umtwana to a crash because I need to go to work? And it's like, no, it's okay. Even then, you guys, she was living with Michael. She wasn't living in Mzumbe. Remember, Michael has always had in the house of Mzumbe, but she lives a Sipak. And at that time, Usne lived a Sipak with Umaxele. So I was like, you know what? I had forgotten that we once saw Usne really like looking like she was a good mother at the time. Of course, we were still to learn more about Sne and her behavior as far as being in and out of Indlugamacele and sometimes going missing, sometimes going to live with her boyfriend and all of that. But I was pleasantly surprised to be reminded that Usne, there was a time where she really was trying to be a good mom. And thinking about it now, you guys, even when you see the interaction between Usne and Utando, it almost like, it feels like it's a distant relationship. It doesn't feel like they're emotionally connected to each other. And of course, Utando knows Usne is her mom, but I would feel like she probably takes Umaxele as more of her mom because she's the one that has mothered her more than she does Usne. But if you go back to season one, you guys, even like you see Usne, even Kona Umtanake, the scene that I was talking about where Ulwandle is talking about losing a place, Usne is sitting there with her child, Ingane yake, Ikone kuyena Usne. You can see at that time that she was showing love to her child. So it just makes me wonder, when did she give up on being a mom? Because this season she actually admitted, because I haven't really been a mom to my kids, because with Utando, Umaxele took over, and then with Usamkelo now, he lives with the family, Kababwake, so I haven't really had a chance to be the mom. In fact, it sounded to me like she's saying that she doesn't know how to be a mom, you guys. Now, Mseleku goes on to explain, you guys. He says that, listen, Usne umafungwasi wami, first child that I had before even Umpumelelo. And then he says, then when Maxele got married, you know, and she moved to Mzumbe, and this is important information too that is coming out in it with a different story, because we've been wondering where did Umaxele live after she got married, if Umakumalo was the first one to go and live in Mzumbe. But this is what Mseleku said. She says when Umaxele got married, she moved to Mzumbe. At that time, she was the only one okhona in Mzumbe. Then Usne came and lived with Umaxele. And of course, Umaxele was accommodating to her and everything. I guess as loving as we see her be to Usne even right now. But Mseleku pointed out to say what caused tension between Umaxele and Usne at the time was the fact that Usne ubekhwelezela umawakhe. So it's almost like she was fighting for her mother. The only thing I can think of is to say she was fighting for her mom. Okay, so because ubekhwelezela umawakhe at the time, the relationship got tense. So she would just pick up and leave and go back to Kagogo. That was before she had a boyfriend. So, and then the next thing was Umayeni got married. He doesn't say what happened with Umasaul. Did Umasaul have a relationship with Usne at all? But she says that when Umayeni came, now when Mayeni got married, Usne came back. Okay, came back and lived with Umayeni for some time. She did the same that she did with Umacele, left and went back Wayagashibe, and then Umayeni went to fetch Sne, came back with Sne. They lived with her for a while, and then she left again. This is, I guess, what explains why Umayeni has that, because when Umayeni finally had that conversation with Sne last season of Uthando Zesthembu, I was like, it looks like they have a good relationship. They communicate very well with each other, and it looked like Umayeni knows how to talk to Sne. So then I guess Umayeni at some point gave up on, fetching Sne when Sne will go and go back. I guess at the beginning she would go back to Kwashozi, but then when they reach a point where she had a girlfriend, they would think Ugutu Kwashozi, but she would be with the boyfriend. She says, then came a time when Umangwabe got married, and I was like, but what happened to Uma Khumalo? From what I listened to when Mseleku is explaining the situation in season 1, he doesn't mention Uma Khumalo. So I don't know, because I thought there was a point where Mseleku said Sne has lived with all of the wives. But in this instance, he doesn't mention Uma Khumalo. He says that, and then after Umayeni, Umangwabe had come. Now Mseleku Mangwabe did the same. Fresh Sne lived with her. Sne did the same. It was the same back and forth. And then at some point, Umangwabe gave up on that idea. Okay, then they gave up on the even the idea of Sne leaving Mseleku. They were like, okay, it means ukuthi uthanda ukuhlala komalume wakhe. And then one day, you guys, when he came back from work, SC Park, he gets there, and here is Sne and Gama. And he says, at the beginning, if Umacele explained, at the beginning, Mseleku didn't want to speak to Sne because he was so disappointed with Sne and all of that. But then eventually, things got better and all of that. And then I guess it even got to a point where now she was pregnant, has a child. And then she ended up spending more time under Isandla Skamacele than any of the wives. But the other wives have actually also tried to live with Sne, you guys. So from the beginning, in season 1, you guys, you do get the idea that there is a back and forth with Sne's living situation. She lives here, she lives there. But at the same time, you're getting that when you are seeing her interact with her child, interacting with Umacele, you also feel like she is trying to be a good mom. But by the time that season ends, you kind of feel like it's almost like Sne is throwing a towel on this parenting situation. But not only is she throwing a towel at the parenting situation, she's throwing a towel at herself, at her life, because for some reason she just picks up and goes. Umacele talks about how she went to Umsebenzi. They have one of the neighbors had umcimbi. She goes there, she comes back, and Sne is not there. And remember, she's the older child that was supposed to be there with the younger siblings. When she gets there, they're saying Sne picked up and left. This is where we start to see Umacele now in season 2. Going to look for Sne, because when season 2 begins, Sne is nowhere to be found. She's not SC Park, and she's not Mzumbe, and Umacele is just feeling like, the thing that any parent would feel, where they feel like, no, but we can't just not look for her. Let's see where she is. So we see Umacele go, Eyagobheka Sne Gashibe, where her grandparents live. In season 1 and season 2, definitely they do talk about Sne's grandparents, meaning that the grandfather and the grandmother. I don't know if later on the grandfather did pass away, because in recent seasons they hardly ever mention the grandfather. Whenever they're talking about Sne, they only talk about her and her grandmother. So now the thing is, Macele wants Sne back, but more than she wants Sne back, she wants Uthando back, and she's trying to convince Mseleku to say, listen, I'm going to go and fetch Sne. Mseleku is like, I don't want to hear anything when it comes to Sne. We've tried enough. You have tried enough. I don't want to hear it. Okay. In fact, I wish that her boyfriend would just make arrangements and marry her, so that I can know that she's off. She's not my problem anymore. And also, kungabi ihlazo that she's staying with a boyfriend, because she wasn't really at the grandmother's place. She was with the boyfriend. And Umacele is like, listen, maybe I get it when you are talking about Sne and saying that you are giving up on her, but we cannot give up on Uthando. And Mseleku is like, but why do you care so much about Uthando? Uthando is Sne's child, and Sne needs to be responsible for Uthando. And Umacele says, listen, but ingane ezalelwe ekhaya ingane kagogo, just like Usne ingane kagogo wakashibe, Uthando ingane yami. So I am the grandmother. This is my first grandchild, you guys, which is very sweet of Umacele, like honestly. And she really does take Uthando as a grandchild, and you're not going to tell her anything about it. She's like, Uthando is my first grandchild, and since ezalelwe ekhaya, then she's mine, and I'm going to go and fetch her. And and Ubaba Mseleku ends up saying, listen, if you fetch her, then don't ask me anything for her. Like, I'm not gonna be the one ozomondla, ozomgqokisa, ozomyisa esikoleni and all of that. And if you need anything for this child, don't ask me, kusho Mseleku. And Umacele ends up promising, okay, fine, I will fetch Uthando because I feel like she is mine. And then when I've done that, I will take care of her. I won't ask you for anything. I guess that situation, you guys, explains why at some point they did go and collect Thando's SASSA card from the Shibe family. Actually, it wasn't from the Shibe family because the card was with Samkelo's family. And they were talking about how they got it back from them. Because I guess Umacele needed, imali azonakekela ngayo lengane, because of course Mseleku was saying, no, don't use my money to take care of this child. This is not my child. We do see Umacele, you guys, in season 2 going ayofuna Usne, guys. Ayomfuna Usne, and when she gets to the family, Yagashibe, they don't want to talk to her, and I guess the cameras also are part of why they didn't want to talk to her. The grandfather and the grandmother said they don't want to discuss the situation. And she calls Mseleku to try and explain, because listen, I'm here, Gashibe, I'm trying to resolve in Dabagasne. They don't want to talk to me. They say they don't want to discuss it with me. And it does sound like she's saying they would want to discuss it with Mseleku. And then Mseleku is like, but you know how my relationship is like with those people. And so I guess if they're not going to talk to you, then there's no talking that will be taking place, because I'm not going to talk to them. Then I thought about it, you guys, and I was like, it's interesting how Mseleku doesn't get along with the families of the wives that have passed away. But I say wives, you guys, but I guess she wasn't the wife. But we don't know if Mseleku had done anything for Makam Sne, okay? I'm assuming that she hadn't, because even in the at some point was still in question as far as Sne is concerned. But it's interesting that Mseleku doesn't get along with the Shibe family, and Sne's mom had passed away. It's the same with Masaola. He doesn't get along with the family. He said it himself that they kicked him out of the house that he lived in with Masaola. And I wonder what their reasons are. Okay, but I guess that's a video for another day. Then you guys, Umacele ends up going ayofuna usinekeke ka-boyfriend. I'm told he finds Uthando in a bad state. Uthando has lost weight, doesn't look very good. No Sne nje mayiqhamuka, guys, I'm like, yo, kunokubukeka ngathi iphara nje. I'm like, Sne, you left your family there, and then umuntu mayibukeka ngathi ulambe nokulamba, ngathi akageze nokugeza, uyaqhamuka. And then Umacele, then what happened, And she started explaining to, listen, Sne, I understand that you're an adult. I understand that you might want to visit your boyfriend. And you know what? I wouldn't have a problem with you just saying you are, because you can't really say to me, Nyaga boyfriend, because I'm your mom. But obviously, if you say, I'm going to visit my friend and you are gone for the weekend, I will know that you are going to visit your boyfriend. But I'm just going to pretend I don't know. So you actually don't even need to sneak out. You can just tell me, because you're Bani, and then go. Why does it have to be you just disappearing, And Sne has no answers, to be honest with you. And Umacele ends up going back, and she says, listen, now I want Uthando back. Thando is my child. And next time you decide that you are going to sneak out and leave, make sure that you leave Uthando back, okay? Leave Uthando back at home and do your thing, okay? If you want to go live with your boyfriend, do that. But don't ever take Uthando, because Thando is mine, okay? In the diary session right there, you guys, and I guess because we didn't know what had happened with Usne, it was just like a mystery, because she kept on saying in the diary sessions that, you know what, one day I will be able to explain it to my father. The reason, she says, number one, the reason she ran away from home was because she was scared of her father. And I think the reason she was scared of her father because she had just quit her job and her father was trying to make sure that she works. And she says, but I feel like if I explain my father, if I told my father the real reason why things are the way that they are, or I'm doing what I'm doing, she will understand. And I will tell him one day, but right now he does not know. But it remains a mystery that season what Sne is talking about. The seasons following that, you guys, is just Usne back and forth. One season they are shooting, Usne is around. The next she's leaving. Most seasons when it begins she will be coming back home, and I think it will be a matter of producers finding her and saying she needs to come back because we need to run the storyline, and then she will come back, and then the following season we'll be hearing about how she had left again. But there is one season, you guys, where Umakele goes to see her, and because she had heard Sne was pregnant with her second child, and in fact she had even had a child, but she had not communicated with her family that she was pregnant in the first place and that she had had a child. They had had Emoyeni. And then Umakele is talking about how one day Sne just sent her a picture of a child and didn't say anything, didn't explain who is this. So she was going to find out. She goes and collects Sne, goes to the mall with her to buy her clothes. And when Sne wants to buy baby clothes, she's like, no, I don't know you to have a child, so I'm not buying no baby clothes. I'm here for you as my child. And after this, we're having lunch. I'm not buying any baby clothes. I only have one other child, which is Utando, and Utando is okay with clothes, so we're not doing any kids section here because I don't know you to have another child. She tries to beg her mom to get the clothes, but Umakele is like, no, I'm buying new clothes. So then they go out to have lunch. That's where they get to talk. And then when they are talking, you guys, Umakele is really desperate to find out what's happening with you, Usne. We've tried everything with you. Why can't you just get, do something with your life? You have a family here that cares a lot about you. What's happening here? Now you're talking about a second baby that you haven't even told us about. What the hell is going on, you guys? And Umakele is even in tears in this episode because, like, desperately she is trying to understand what is happening with Usne. This is what leads to Usne, you guys, making a decision to talk about what had happened, because at some point she makes a decision to tell Umakele what really happened, you guys. She says that, earlier on when Ubabake was still initiating Izingane Zesthembu, the wives were still very new, kusashadwa and all of that. She used to be between Kashozi and Mseleku in terms of living arrangements. So there would be times when they would go fetch her from Gakoko, Bezina Mseleku. And there was a relative that used to work for Mseleku or worked with Mseleku. That relative was a man, and at certain points he would be sent to go fetch Usne, and he took advantage of that situation. And that is a man that sexually violated Usne at some point because I guess he felt like he had an opportunity to do so. She talks about how this man will take advantage of the fact that Usne would run away from home. So he will take the initiative to go and find Usne. When he finds Usne, he will say to her, Ubabako said I must fetch you, but he will take Usne and go violate her somewhere. She says that this happened for years and years and years, and that's the reason that she would not want to stay at home, because this man would have access. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, but it was one of those situations where I had an Oprah moment where I'm like, I had an aha moment when it comes to Sne, and I was like, this is why this child is the way that she is, and this is why sometimes it feels like she has some kind of resentment towards her family, because she does feel like basically this thing happened under everybody's nose, and there were so many adults come Mseleku, but not a single one saw what had happened. Of course, Amatela is shocked by this situation, and he's like, Sne, listen, I'm going to be on your side here, but I need to know, are you This is not you just telling me something so that you can explain your behavior. This happened to you. And immediately when Usne is telling the story, Umacele seemed like she knows who that person might be. She even asks, is it this person? They don't say the name of the person on TV. They blip it out. So we don't know who the person is. We don't know how the person was related to Mseleku. But I guess people that live in Mzumbe know, and the people that know the Mseleku family will probably easily figure out who the person is. And now Umacele is left with the thing of, okay, now I understand why she's behaving the way that she's behaving. But now her father needs to know this, because even him, maybe he might end up understanding Usne a little bit better. This is how we get that scene where Mseleku is sitting down with Usne and Usne is telling him what had happened. That scene, you guys, was the saddest scene that I've seen on Uthando Zesthembu, because you can see how scared Usne is to tell her father what had happened to her. And it's strange how you can have a hard time to tell people that you were violated when you are the one that was violated. You did nothing wrong. And it's very hard too on that scene to watch Mseleku ask Usne, are you not lying about this situation? Are you not just telling me this just because you know I don't get along with this person? Because apparently after he had done that, the relationship between Mseleku and whoever this person is got sour, and they stopped working together. They don't get along anymore, even though they are family. So Mseleku was like, are you sure you're not just saying this about this person because you know I don't get along with this person? And are you sure that you are not just saying that? Usne insists, this is what happened. It happened many times. He will say this. He will come and fetch me in the middle of the night, say you sent him, and he will do this to me. Anyway, you guys, I really thought that when Usne revealed that finally, like the producers, including Uba Mseleku and the family, we're going to make sure Sne gets some help, and I felt like it was going to be a breakthrough. This is finally, she reveals that she will get some help, and people can understand how she had behaved that way, and finally she will be able to get things together. But it hasn't happened for Sne. We did see her go for therapy. I think it was a session or two, and that was it, you guys. I don't know if she did more outside of the show. It seemed to look like it is helping. She liked it, but then she stopped, okay? I do wish that the therapy would have been longer. The lady that was doing her therapy was the same lady that we see on the show, the one that helps the families to emotionally deal with the situation when it comes to Tatako. And I thought that it was a good idea for her to do that, but you guys, I don't think she did it long enough, because it did not help. Okay, overall, it did not help. Mseleku in the scene promises that, listen, we are going to make sure that we do the right thing as far as you are concerned. I will fight you with you. I will be on your side and all of that, as long as you insist that this is the truth. However, we don't see it happening. We don't know if the police were called. We don't know even that the person was ever confronted about the situation. And there was the end of that storyline as far as Sne being violated. And then after that, you guys, it was all downhill for Usne. As much as I can sit here and say, listen, Usne needs to take accountability and responsibility for her life now. She's grown. We all have had traumas in our lives. And at some point, we just have to be like, you know what am I going to do? I have 2 children now, and I need to be a good mom to them. But I cannot help you guys to think about how, if I told my father that a person that he had brought into my life had violated me, I would probably expect more than just him saying, I'm on your side, okay? I would expect that he will take action, And I don't feel like there was any action, because we didn't see it. I think if he took any action, it would be good content. They would have showed it to us. The fact that they didn't, it means that Mseleku never did it. And I think there was the results that we got from that was Sne's downhill, and it's been downhill from then on, you guys. Of course, this season, I want to see what's happening with Sne, but at the same time, I feel like the storylines Sne is around, Now she is at this point where she's talking about the fact that she doesn't like her family, doesn't like spending time with her family. So now I do wonder, how are you going to do a reality show with your siblings when you don't even like them? I feel like Sne needs therapy. I feel like the best storyline that we can ever get from Sne in the season of Izingane Zesthembu is Sne going to therapy, because I feel like she needs it. There's no way that it can be okay that because of your childhood trauma, that you are somebody that it can be accepted that you are not taking care of your kids. She has 2 kids that don't live with her. She's not responsible for them. Even one child, we just found out that she has a SASA card for the child, but she's not sending the money to the child when she's supposed to. So I would have loved that storyline, but from the trailer, I didn't see it. So I don't think that they will be doing that. But I really honestly feel like it would be great to see Usne like do like real therapy, like goes deep into her childhood trauma and how that has affected her life, and what she can do now, you guys, is just to sort of make sure that she can still, move forward with her life and be a good mom, even with that trauma, because the scars are always going to be there. But they don't have to cripple you your whole life. They really don't have to cripple you. And also, they don't have to cripple you and cripple your children. If you look at Sne's child, Utando, you guys, I don't know, I just feel like this child is not okay. Yes, she's okay physically. You can see she's taken care of. She eats, she's dressed nice, but there's just something about her. And I feel like, if they had to sit down and do therapy even together with the child, we would find out a lot about how she feels about her mom. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. What do you think we are going to be seeing with this, besides her fighting with her siblings? And what do you think will be a perfect storyline for Sne this season of Izingane Zesthembu? Please like the video before Pumegona, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Nginethanda kakhulu.